Imagine if there was a very simple way to make more money on every single sports card you list on eBay. Just by knowing how to answer a very simple question, you make 15% more profit every time. There is such a way, and in today's video we're going to talk about exactly what that is. But first, the intro. In today's video, I want to talk about a very simple subject. It's whether you should sell your card buy it now or auction. And the very short answer right off the top is, it depends. Some cards are best suited as an auction, some are best as a buy it now, and from card to card there are a few things you need to consider as you make this selection. So does it actually make a big difference? We actually did a study at cardlines.com and you can see it here on this very fancy graphic right beside me. And what we did is we looked at 3 different cards that had sold as both a buy it now and then 3 different that had sold as an auction for the same cards that are listed here. And we found the average selling price of both the buy it nows and the auctions. Then after finding the average price for all the different cards, you can see there's about a 14% difference between buy it now and auction. And that 14% difference is in favor of buy it now. So across the board, and admittedly this is a small sample size, but buy it now sold for more than auctions. That's just a good rule of thumb to remember. But there are some drawbacks. The least attractive thing about selling your card as a buy it now is simply that there's no timeline. If you list something as an auction, you control it and you know 7 days from now it will be selling. You don't control the final price, but you at least know when you're going to get the money. I've had some cards listed as a buy it now on eBay for over 6 months, so at this point when they sell, it takes a little effort to even find those cards. But there are some cards that I would say should always be sold as a buy it now. But before we get there, I have a quick favor to ask. I've been paying attention to the analytics of our channel lately, and it appears that most of the people watching these videos don't actually subscribe. So if you could just do me a favor and click the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and then ring the notification bell so you never miss another one of our videos, it would help us keep making these videos for you, and there might be something in it for you too. We've been picking random subscribers and sending them a blaster box every Friday, so be sure to watch for that. You might be next. Unless you really want these sales to happen on a schedule and for you to recoup some of the money quickly, I would argue that you should always list old cards as a buy it now. And here's why. Here we are in Google Trends, and I want to do a little experiment. We're going to say Dan Marino. Dan Marino, obviously a great quarterback. His cards are worth quite a bit. Here's what his search trend looks like, shown in blue in interest over time. Now we're going to compare that to the current quarterback of the Dolphins, Tua. Tua's graph here is shown in orange, and he is dominating every single day in terms of search volume. More people are searching for Tua. So what does that mean for selling your cards? It means that if you list a Tua card on eBay, just like with Google, there's a lot of people searching on eBay every day for the word Tua. Dan Marino, who is both a great quarterback and has valuable cards, just doesn't have the search volume. So if you list it in an auction, you're saying, hey, I'm only going to sell this card from somebody who looks at it between this 7-day window, and it limits the amount of potential buyers. To maximize the value of that kind of card, it's best to do it as a buy it now. Even if it sets on eBay for an extra couple weeks, it's worth it to extend that buying window if it gets you an extra $100 out of the transaction. It's also great when you sell something as a buy it now because you can do best offer accepted and you literally control what your card sells for, so you should never sell a card and have some kind of seller's remorse like, oh man, I undersold that. And on the flip side, if you have somebody who is making a lot of headlines and is actively playing and you have a card that you think is going to have a lot of search volume, then you can just sell it as an auction and 99 times out of 100 it will hit what you will deem market value. In just a minute, we're going to conclude by going over to eBay and looking at what this looks like in practice, but first I want to talk about the pros of an auction and buy it now. Let's start with the auction, and for one, they can be strategically planned. For example, eBay allows you to schedule auctions for free now, so you can look ahead at the schedule of the athlete on your card and then end your auction right after he ends a big game. That's when you're going to maximize the value. They also respond to the market. For example, if you have the rookie card of a backup quarterback listed as a buy it now, it will get snatched up immediately if the starting quarterback on the same team gets injured. But if you have that same card listed as an auction, it's going to adjust and it will get a big bump when your backup quarterback suddenly becomes the starter. And finally, auctions are less effort to sell. They're kind of set it and forget it. You set your time frame, you pick your starting price, and then you just let it ride. 7 days later, you come back and you get your cash. So here are the pros of a buy it now. Number one, you can take offers. It's really nice to be able to negotiate and haggle back and forth so you have more control of the sell. There's also what I consider win-win scenarios. I always try to ask a bit more for a buy it now than I actually want to recoup, and then that way the potential buyer can talk me down a little bit and everybody's happy. It's a win-win for both buyer and seller if we meet in the middle. And ultimately, you should have a happy sell because you control the selling price, so sometimes an auction can underwhelm in performance, and with a buy it now, you should never be bummed with the final result because you decided it. So let's look at a real world example just to prove that there's some method behind the madness here. I haven't actually done this yet, so I'm going to be real annoyed if this doesn't work. Dan Marino, PSA 8 rookie. We'll say PSA 9. How about PSA 9? Cool, there we go. So we're going to go down on the left side and we're going to click on sold items. We're going to just look. So here is our card. As an auction, it sold for $322. And then here's best offer accepted. So we can't tell exactly what that one sold for. So we're going to copy the name of it right here. And I'm going to go to 130 point. This is the ugliest and most beautiful website on the internet. All in one. So that one sold for $340. This one sold for $326. This one sold for $282. This one sold for $350, and of course it was a buy it now. So looks like the buy it nows are selling for between $340 and $350, and the auctions are selling anywhere from $280 to $325. So you can see the difference right there, pretty clear. If you have an old card, always try to list it as a buy it now. It's going to help you make money every single time. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it helped. Be sure to watch some more of our videos right here. Just click on it right there.